I am interrupting our series for this special episode about the power of human connection and how human connection can help decrease our stress and burnout. I have talked about co-regulation before. I have talked about just the power that humans have on each other to help us feel regulated. So today we are talking about human connection, and this is just a timely topic in my life right now. So listen for the power of human connection. Welcome to Burnout Solutions, a podcast designed to help high achievers and healthcare professionals understand stress and how it can lead to burnout. Together, we'll explore how your brain and nervous system naturally work and why they sometimes hold you back, and how to overcome those challenges to fully enjoy the success you've worked so hard to create. I am your host, Mona Tippett, registered nurse, burnout coach, and resiliency educator. Hello, and welcome back to Burnout Solutions. I am excited to be with you today. I have done a lot of thinking about connections and how our human connections really do matter with each other, with decreasing burnout, and it just makes life a little bit easier. I've had some recent experiences with connection. School just started for my kids, and it's been interesting to see they all have had friends that they have just synced right up with again, and some of them they haven't. And for two of my three kids, it's actually kind of been a little bit of a rough start to the new school year with connecting with friends. I also witnessed a beautiful funeral of my mother-in-law and just saw all of the connections that she had made in her small town. And the church was filled at her funeral with people who she had touched, with lots of family and friends. We had people just travel hours to come to her funeral. And it was really touching to me to see the kind of influence that she had on so many people, and reminded me about how important relationships are. And not only have I experienced those thoughts about connection, but I am actually the PTA president of the middle school this year. I have gone to several trainings over the last few months about how to be a good PTA president, and they have talked a lot about what PTA does and how it connects families with school. And I really just want to build community in this middle school. So that's my main goal. I for sure am not going to be the very best PTA president ever, but my goal is to help the teachers feel more supported and have kids recognized for the great things that they're doing. So I have thought just a lot about connecting. So why is connection more important than ever? I think you've just seen it in your life, maybe at your bus stop or walking around the grocery store. People next to us are just scrolling through their phones, just not paying attention to the people around them. Parents at school sometimes are buried in their screens instead of chatting with each other. And this is just a modern era of our digital disconnection. And again, the PTA had this big presentation on more social, less media, because our culture has tricked us into believing that we actually are connected through social media, through Facebook, through Instagram, through seeing how awesome people's vacations are and what they're wearing and if they're losing weight, and just, back to school pictures. But really, we are just scrolling at each other from across the void. We are not intermingling with each other, and we are not touching each other, giving each other hugs, looking each other in the eye. And here's a scoop. Human beings aren't meant to be data transmitting, self-checking out machines. We are actually biologically wired to be social creatures. We were wired for belonging. We have that longing to connect. We also have a drive to protect when we don't feel that connection. And when that social connection fades, burnout, stress, loneliness, anxiety, depression, and even suicide all go up. There's a nonprofit in Boise, Idaho called Connection is a Cure, and I just love them. They put on this big event every year, and it's all about mental health and suicide prevention, and they do a great job of talking about how connection really is a cure. Human connection, human relationships Strength in numbers, strength in feeling supported really does help us as humans feel more supported, less stressed, less burned out. And disconnection is actually one of the 6 reasons that Christina Maslach identified in her burnout scale as reasons why humans burn out. Over the summer, I also read 2 books about connections. And one of them is called Lost Connections by Johan Hari. And the other one, super interesting, was Bowling Alone by Robert Putnam. And they actually tell the same story, but from a different angle. Uh, Hari talks about how we have lost connections in our society, like lost connections to people, to purpose, to values, and how this all drives depression and anxiety. And then Robert Putnam talks about how over the decades, Americans have become less and less involved in their communities. And he uses the analogy of bowling alone. He said there's fewer neighborhood potlucks, fewer civic groups, less trust, and less bowling leagues. So people are still bowling, but they're bowling alone. So these 2 books discuss about our 2 types of disconnection. Our personal disconnection, so like our inner world and even connecting inside of ourselves and with our close inner circle. And then we have societal disconnections for our outer world. And together, these 2 help fuel our burnout and our stress. So let's just start with talking about our personal disconnections. And I really liked how Johan Hari talked about 9 different ways of lost connections. And he challenges the idea that depression and anxiety are just chemical imbalances in the brain. And I am aware, and I do believe that there are people with clinical depression, and so does he. Yari actually spent years interviewing scientists and psychologists around the world, and he identified that many people feel helpless and isolated and emotionally adrift, not because something is actually wrong within them, but because of their relationships and the things that were wrong around them. Now, I'm not trying to make anyone feel like a victim or feel bad or saying that you can blame the people or the things around you, because there are things that you can do to feel more connected. So he introduced these 9 lost connections. So I wanted to go through and review these, and I challenge you to just listen and see if you can relate to any of them. I also did want to mention that Yari is not anti-medication, nor am I. But, he just believes that we have more control over how we feel than we think. Okay, so let's just get started. The first is disconnection from meaningful work. And I have seen this a lot in myself and my clients and my neighbors, how sometimes you just feel like your job is a job where you're running on a hamster wheel with no purpose. You feel disconnected from those around you. You feel like your passion and your drive has gone down. Some people feel like they're just cogs in a machine. And so they just feel disconnected from the passion that drove them into their job. The other is disconnection from other people. So you can be surrounded by coworkers and loved ones, and you still feel lonely because maybe you're just spending time on a screen. Maybe you are not taking the time to interact with those people around you. Being physically near people isn't really the same as being genuinely seen, as genuinely connecting with those that we love and are around. The next one is disconnection from meaningful values. And this I see all the time, especially with a lot of these teenage boys that I love, but are hanging around my house and they're like, oh, yeah, we want the biggest and latest and greatest. We want to be like this social media influencer, want to have a new car, nice things, new golf clubs, new shoes, new, Jordan 4s, all this stuff. And what it comes down to is that we actually in reality crave values that matter: kindness, service, compassion. And the shiny things all lead to emotional potholes, right? There's nothing on that road that actually brings us happiness. Okay, the fourth disconnection that he talks about is disconnection caused from childhood trauma. And I think this is fascinating. This is where he talks a lot about ACE scores. And if you don't know what ACE scores are, they are adverse childhood experiences. I didn't know about them till just a few years ago, but I've read so much about them. And these are experiences as a child that just don't evaporate because we grow up. These experiences that are adverse or hard or traumatic actually shape your nervous system, our reactions, how we trust, and how we develop relationships long into adulthood. And someday I'm just going to do a podcast just on ACEs. But just know that when people have had a hard childhood, that carries with them for the rest of their life. It's not impossible to retrain your brain and nervous system, but those ACEs really do affect the blueprint of the rest of your life. Okay, the next one is disconnection from status and respect. So this is when people feel invisible, they feel dismissed, they feel undervalued. This is whether they're at work or just in life, in your neighborhood, in your school. This just really feeds a sore sense of, wait, do I really matter? And guess what? Yes, you do. Things matter because you matter. And I feel like a lot of people don't give our teachers the respect they deserve, don't give parents. I'm a parent and I see a lot of kids not treating their parents with the respect that I think they deserve. And just status and respect has kind of dwindled, and we just need to be kind to each other. Okay, the next one, I love this one. This is actually disconnection from our natural world. So I spend a lot of time outdoors. I love being outside. I love being in the mountains. I love being outside and taking my dog for a walk. If you don't spend a lot of time outdoors, your nervous system could have that yearning, because just listening to the birds, simply breathing fresh air, even for 5 minutes, really does a lot for our nervous system and our brain. The seventh is just disconnection from hope or a secure future. When the news drips fear into us and they talk about uncertainty and terror and war, all of this awful stuff, that's actually, you can get secondary traumatic stress just from watching the news. And it can be hard to feel safe. And when you think that your future is without hope and it's just dreadful, which a lot of people, I think, really do feel right now, it's really hard to stay positive and believe that life is hopeful and awesome. Okay, the last two, disconnection with our genes or our brain chemistry. So yes, biology does matter, but Hari reminds us that genetics are just a part of our story, not the whole story. But they do take a toll in how we feel and how we are able to connect with other people. And the last one is interesting. He talks about a disconnection from real, respectful treatment. He says that too often people are just labeled like they're a machine that need to have a pill put in. They are dismissed in the medical field. Their whole story isn't seen. And we actually do need space for healing, and our emotional and our mental health are all connected. And, luckily, I think a lot of this in my community anyway is going away, and physicians are treating patients differently. So all of these 9 lost connections can, I guess, be boiled down into just a few ideas how we are disconnected from other people. We are disconnected from meaning in our life, and we are disconnected from a hopeful future. And again, these are not personal flaws. They are just symptoms of a society that's forgotten how to care for each other. And again, Christina Masloch actually talks about lack of community as one of the 6 core causes of burnout. Because when we feel like nobody has your back, and when you can't be yourself at work or at home, stress becomes chronic, and our nervous system can get stuck in fight or flight or even shut down. And so I wanted to talk about in Bowling Alone, how Robert Putnam talks about something called social capital. And social capital is just the value that we get from our social networks. So again, not the Facebook kind, but real life kind, where people can see your face, see your eyeballs. This is where we can develop trust, favors, connections that come from knowing people, helping each other out, and feeling like you belong to something bigger than just you. Now, when I read the book and he talked about social capital, I thought about our little neighborhood. We moved about 7 years ago, and we moved from an awesome, connected neighborhood. Like, we were in a cul-de-sac with 6 houses, 7 houses, and there were 27 kids that were our kids' age, give or take, 5 years probably. And it was awesome. And we loved that place. These kids just roamed in packs, and parents would come out, and we would spend way too long talking outside in the cul-de-sac. And it was just so fun. And why would we ever leave that place? Well, because we're kind of like farmers, and we found 2 acres that was about a mile away. And we moved here to this little neighborhood that has 16 houses and 2 acres, moving from a quarter acre to 2-acre lots is a big deal. And it's actually kind of hard to see your neighbors. I don't hear them or see them going in and out of their houses. And there were a lot less kids. So anyway, we had a big ice cream social the year after we moved in. And it was really great. We met a lot of neighbors. And during that ice cream social, several people said, this is the first time we've ever gotten together as just our street. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This street is 20 years old. Why have you not gotten together? And, whatever. So from that ice cream social, we met lots of people. And we started to develop relationships, and we have been here 7 years now, and we have just a lovely community. We have like a yard co-op, and we share tools and lawnmowers and shovels and saws, and we have a tractor, and anyone is welcome to borrow it. And I just really feel so blessed that we have a great community here. And we have a lot of social capital, and we had a lot of social capital where we were too. But that's the whole point of what Robert Putnam says, is that when you have high social capital, you have a lot of people that you can call on when you have an emergency, when you need help moving a couch, or when you just need someone to talk to, or just people to hang out with. And it's just really great to support each other. And I love that we have high social capital here. And also, social capital works in both ways. It's not just about what you get. I feel like I get a lot, but it's also about what you give. And giving and helping other people has been proven to improve your emotional, vibrational energy. And the more we show up for each other, even in small little ways, the more connected and supported we all feel. So all of this connection is involving give and take. Robert Putnam does show that in America, our social capital has been shrinking. And again, he talks about how we're now bowling alone, meaning fewer safety nets when life gets hard. And when you combine that with personal disconnection, like Johan Hari talks about, we have become more stressed and lonely. And why is it that our social capital and our disconnection from other people and nature really does affect us? Well, this is where neuroscience steps in. And I love to talk about Dan Siegel and his neuro-relational science. And he talks about how our mind exists inside us and in the spaces between us. So our connection just doesn't feel good. It physically shapes our brain. It helps us create how we see ourselves. It helps us create a perspective of how we see those around us. And the more connected we are, the better we feel about ourselves. Also, the Harvard study of adult development, I read the book called The Good Life. It talks all about it. And it says that the strongest predictor of long, happy life isn't fame or income, but it actually is the quality of your relationships. So maybe you're thinking, okay, great. This sounds all nice and cozy and wonderful, but I don't need another item on my to-do list. I don't want to add things. And you're right. The magic isn't about adding more, but it's about making what you are already doing more meaningful. So I'm not giving you a chore list. I'm suggesting on how you can make connection in the things that you're already doing, and also switching out some habits for things that will leave you feeling more connected. So let's talk about ways that we can reconnect without overwhelming. These are the things I've thought of. So savor the micro moments. Connection happens in seconds, nanoseconds. Connection happens in a look, in a smile, in a nod. So when you're at the grocery store, smile at the people who are passing by you. Ask your grocery store clerk, how are you doing? I have really tried to focus on spending those times in the morning and in the evening and when kids are coming home from school to just give micro moments of positive connection. And in those 2-second windows, in those 2-minute windows, I really feel like it has lightened up both of our days. The next is join something meaningful. Yes, like the PTA, like volunteering, like creating a book club, like volunteering with your kids' soccer team. I also am a member of the Cycle Paths. It's a women's biking group, and these are some of my best friends. We call it our therapy on wheels, and we get together often to mountain bike. I also have a daughter who is currently on the mountain bike team, and it's just really fun to talk to the coaches and the other parents and the other kids and cheer them on while they're riding on the trails. And just being a part of the PTA, just being a part of things that your kids are involved in or committees at work can really help you make a difference and strengthen those relationships with people that you see more often. Also, mix strong ties with weaker ties. So have deep talks with close friends, but also maybe an occasional lunch with somebody who is outside of your bubble. I love to call all of my best friends that have been my best friends throughout my whole life in my birthday month, which is coming up. And I love catching up. And the beautiful thing about old friends is it's like we pick right back up, even though some of these people I haven't talked to for a whole year or several months. So take the time. Sundays are a good time for us to have good talks with people that we don't see as often. Okay, the next is get out in nature. This is like even just during your lunch while you're eating, walk outside, lay on the grass, go feel the sunshine on your skin, sit in the sunshine in front of a window, anything, just anything to help you open up your lungs and walking without your earbuds, just enjoying the quiet can really help your nervous system reset, rewind, unscramble. So get out in nature. Okay, and the last one is just host low-key connections. So have a game night, have a neighborhood potluck, walk with your neighbor, go to church. Church is huge. Talk to people more outside in your neighborhood. You know, these are things that are just really minor and they don't have to be fancy and Pinterest level. This is just spending real time with real people. And I actually did want to throw in one more thing. If you are an introvert, that's totally fine. You can check in with yourself and say, what matters? Who do I want to spend time with in the world? And it's okay to only have certain amount of friends that you spend time with or go to these big social things for just a limited amount of time. But you do need those social connections. It was funny. I was going through my mother-in-law's books after the funeral, and she had several books on the topic of being an introvert. And I asked my father-in-law, I said, did she think she was an introvert? And he said, yes, she did. But did you see all those people at her funeral? I'm like, yes. So whether you think you are an introvert or not, you can develop good connections with lots of people. Okay, so just in closing, just to wrap up, just some takeaways. You were not meant to do life alone. And burnout really does thrive in isolation. But healing and connection grows in community, grows in strong relationships. It grows in interacting on purpose with those around us. So instead of asking, what can I stop doing? Maybe ask yourself, who can I lean on? Who can I laugh with? Who can I build a better relationship with? Who can I repair a relationship with? Who maybe needs my smile right now? Just asking, how are you with a coworker? Just asking them about their personal life. Anything small, anything that helps develop a strong relationship, I feel like is worth it because we are stronger together. And humans are really wired for connection, and connection is not a luxury. It is not indulgent. It really is essential to our human biology. So I hope you take that into consideration this week. And if this episode hits home, please share it with somebody who might be feeling a little run down or frayed this week. And let's rebuild community together, one connection, one nervous system at a time. And thank you for listening. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of each other. Go volunteer, go help a neighbor, and, let me know how that goes. I'd love to hear it. And take care. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Burnout Solutions. If you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I would appreciate it if you could rate and review so other people can find this podcast easier. And when you're ready to stop working harder and start working differently, head on over to my website at www.monatippets.com. That's TIPPETS. And grab my free resources on rewiring your brain and nervous system for less stress and more ease. Hope to connect with you soon. Take care.